All right, it's Andreas Hale with ESPN, and I'm here with Jake Paul, who is not fighting Mike Tyson on July 20th, but instead is fighting Mike Perry. So, Jake, I got to ask you right off the jump, why? Why Mike Perry? Why July 20th? A lot of people would assume maybe you didn't want to waste the training camp, you wanted to stay busy, but is it more to it than that?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but first and foremost, I'm on a path to world championships and I wanted to stay active and get as much experience as I possibly could. And this is a Mike appetizer. I'm still fighting Tyson November 15th, but Mike Perry is a good experience partner to go in there with to test my skills to get better with each fight. And he's just as violent, just as much knockout power as Tyson. And so I believe if I can put my skills to the test against him, then I'll have an easier time with Tyson in November. And I just want to gain as much experience as possible.
So when the fight was announced, when we broke the news on ESPN, we checked the comment section on Instagram, and a lot of people was like, "Yo, I really want to see this fight." They were surprised that it was Mike Perry stepping up and not maybe some journeyman they'd never heard of. The danger factor is what is appealing to this. How dangerous is Mike Perry in reality to you?
He's super dangerous. I think he's one of the most violent people on earth. He's undefeated in bare knuckle, which is arguably the craziest sport in the world. So I have a lot of respect for Mike Perry, and I know he's a killer. He's a knockout artist. He's tough. He has good cardio. He doesn't stop coming forward. So there's a lot of risk, but that's what's propelled me so far in my career is not slowing down and always challenging myself further and further with each fight. And I was also surprised by the reaction when this fight got announced, and how many people were like, yo, this is even better than the Mike Tyson fight. So that excited me. And I feel like I made the right decision in staying active. And I love to fight. I love to train and I love the sport of boxing. So might as well just go up under the bright lights and get another knockout because I believe in my skill. I fear no man, which is the motto for this fight. And July 20th, people will see me against maybe my toughest opponent to date and see how easy and quickly I stop him.
Curious though, with risk, even if you were to win, there could be a cut, there could be a headbutt. Like things could happen that can affect the November 15th fight. Was that taken into consideration?
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's enough time in between. I think the worst thing that could happen is a cut, which is like a month healing, or maybe a hand injury, which I've had injuries before that I've healed in a month. So I'm not too worried about it, and there's enough time in between the fights for me to recover from anything.
Do you think people are still doubting you? It's getting interesting because every time you fight somebody, there's some people's like, oh, Nate Diaz is gonna beat him. You beat Nate Diaz. Oh, Anderson Silva, well, he beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. You go out there and handle business there. Do you think people are still doubting you heading into this fight? And do you kind of thrive on the idea that you continue to prove people wrong?
Yeah, 100%. I see so many people saying that I made a mistake, that this was really dumb of me to do. Mike Perry's going to be the one to finish me, blah, blah, blah. And I just find it funny because people don't really understand the sport of boxing. So many people from their couch critics, even MMA critics, and they don't really understand that I've slowly perfected this craft and that I actually have a ton of skill and natural God-given talent, which is power. And that's something that you can't teach. And so even in my last two fights, finishing guys who've been doing this sport their whole life in basically like 1.5 minutes, no one's even seen my skills for the past year, and I've had a new team. And so people don't really know what I'm made of. And I don't even think they're really going to get to see that against Mike Perry. I believe I could stop him in 1 round, 2 rounds, and maybe max he makes it to the third round. But people really need to stop doubting me and realize that I take this sport more seriously than 99% of pro boxers actually. And I'm obsessed with this. And when I put my mind to something, I become the best at it. That's what I told myself with YouTube. I'm going to become the most viewed YouTuber when I didn't have any views. Put my mind to it, made it happen. And I can do that in any aspect of my life.
Also, do you think about, I mean, if you have an off night, right? Does it hurt anything going into the Tyson fight? Do you think about that at all?
Man, there's definitely those fear um thoughts, like insecure thoughts for sure. Every human deals with those things, and I don't care if people say that they don't or they act like they don't. It's just human nature to have that. That's what drives us forward. And so those types of things definitely come into my head, but it's just about learning your mind and being able to harness it and be like, okay, thought, I see you. I see you insecurity. Let me deal with that, manage that, and like just push it off to the side and let it fuel me to perform even better on that night. And I've just learned to do that. And I think it took time in this sport specifically to be able to get to that place. And it's still a practice, but you just can't let those thoughts run your mind.
Let's talk about the mindset over the past year. You were fighting, I know that you want to achieve a world title, but it seemed like it was such a hard pivot, an opportunity you couldn't pass up to fight Mike Tyson and with Mike Perry. Does that mean 2025 is the year that you're back on the path for a world title? And it's right now, it's like giving the people what they want, and then I'm going back on the grind to get this world title.
Yeah, no, exactly. Not slowing down the train for anybody. And Mike Perry's the perfect person to step in. And I believe in 2025, I will most likely be world champion. It's not even about the path. I think I'm ready for it in the next couple of months here, and I'm most likely going to go for it in 2025, which sounds like a shock. Oh yeah, Jake, what is he saying? Blah blah blah. The crazy kid, the delusional kid. Oh, he's just saying this for attention. It's like no, because people are going to come back and watch this interview one day, clip it, put it together, make a hype ass edit and montage with the song dropping here, and then all of a sudden I'm world champion in 2025. And it's really just my God-given ability and my willpower to do this. And people again haven't even seen me fight in the past year because of 2 first-round knockouts. So if Mike Perry can make it out of the first or second round, then maybe people will see a little bit more. But I don't believe anyone can hang in there with me at 200 pounds.
Is that this world title pursued at cruiserweight or super middleweight?
Cruiserweight.
Feeling most comfortable there?
Yeah, that's like where my body was made for. At 185, it's like it's really hard to get there, and I'm draining myself, and I just feel like my punches just aren't the same. I don't have that power. I don't have that pop. So 200 pounds is definitely where I was meant to fight at.
Let me ask you a couple of boxing questions. This year has been kind of interesting. Javante Davis looked phenomenal, stopping Frank Martin. I know you've been keeping your eye on a lot of these guys. What is the biggest story out of boxing outside of you that happened this year? Is it Ryan Garcia failing his drug test? Is it Tank's return? What is out there for you? Canelo and whatever he's doing, not fighting David Benavidez?
Yeah, I think you mentioned a lot of big stories there, but I think the hats off to Usyk for becoming a two-weight undisputed world champion and upsetting the whole heavyweight division. And it's just incredible what he's done. And another person born on January 17th that has accomplished new heights in the sport of boxing. And that's when Muhammad Ali was born and so on. And it's just amazing to see that. So I think to me that's probably the coolest, but the biggest story, yeah, is probably the whole Devin Haney upset with Ryan Garcia and the PEDs and all that. But there's been a lot of amazing things happening for boxing. I'm happy with where the sport's at and where it's going. And I think MMA was taking over the sport for a long time, and now boxing seems to be back on top and not slowing down at all and only gaining momentum, whereas you can't really say the same for MMA.
And you ain't got to be modest, but how much have you had to do with this boxing boom?
I think I'm just a piece of the puzzle. Um, and it's a whole ecosystem, but definitely have helped it in more ways than one. And I think this fight with Mike Tyson on Netflix, which is the largest streaming platform, the largest entertainment platform in the world, I think that will be another massive W, get W at Walmart, for boxing. But I've definitely just tried to do my best to add to the sport because I love it so much, and it pulled me out of a dark place and weird place in my life. And so I owe this sport everything.
How important was it to keep Amanda Serrano busy? Because she didn't get a chance to fight last time. Some people have the same questions. Why would she take a fight knowing the Katie Taylor fight is around the corner. You've had such a big hand in her career. Was it important to make sure that she stayed active?
Yeah, you have to as a fighter, no matter what level you're at. That ring rust can add up really, really quickly. And Amanda's a fighter, I'm a fighter. We don't get paid for sparring. And actually, when you have a fight that you're training on, like, yeah, boxers are going to train every day regardless. But if you have a fight lingering that you signed up for, it's like a 40% increased intensity. And I believe that makes someone better on a daily basis. And Amanda needed to stay active going into this Katie Taylor fight, and I think it's going to benefit both of us come November 15th.
I want to pivot back to Usyk because it made me think of you real quick. Usyk was doubted when he went up to heavyweight. They said he was too small. They said he couldn't hang with the land of the giants. You find inspiration in somebody like Alexander Usyk proving all the doubters wrong and becoming undisputed?
1000%, and that's why I said it's probably my favorite boxing story this year. I get goosebumps from seeing that and doing the unthinkable in such a short amount of time, being the underdog in a lot of these fights and then coming out on top. And what he's also done outside of the ring, fighting for his country, everything he's done there, like that guy is a real life modern hero. And I just have so much respect for him, and it's very inspiring. Inspires me to be better in the ring and outside the ring as well.
A couple more for you. One, Jake, when you called Mike Perry and you decided to give him this fight, what was his reaction? Do you think he was happy that he's getting this opportunity? He seems like he's confident heading into this fight, but it's kind of a surprise that I think he got this call.
I don't know. Our teams have always talked for the past 2 to 3 years about doing this as a potential fight. The timing just never made perfect sense until now. And he's always been talking smack about me for the past 2 to 3 years. And his fan base is always commenting on my Instagram photos. Like, I'll go through, the main whatever top comments, but then like after that, it's like fight Mike Perry for the past 2 years. So I feel like he sort of willed this into existence and really wanted this. And I'm sure he's happy. Anytime you get the call to fight me, it means a big payday and your opportunity to, I guess, cement yourself in a legacy of forms and to stop this whole run that I've had and to please a lot of the internet and specifically the MMA community to, stop me. So I think it's a big moment whenever somebody gets the call to fight me.
Is it also the perfect time because what he's accomplished in BKFC, also with Conor McGregor coming in? Like, he could be at the fight on July 20th. I wouldn't be surprised. He's not fighting at UFC 303. So is it possible that, we could have a lot more eyeballs on it, considering what Perry's accomplished, considering what BKFC has been doing?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, Mike's grown and grown as a fighter and his brand has gotten bigger and bigger, and same with me. And so this, like I said, is the perfect time, and it'll be cool to see how the BKFC community comes around to supporting Mike is what I'm guessing. And I think that'll bring a lot more exposure and a lot more of a fan base to this bout.
All right, the last one. I mean, you still have this deal with the PFL, your MMA debut. What's going on with it? When is it happening? When can we expect it? And who is the ideal opponent?
Yeah, I mean, I still want to do it. I've been trying to find the right opponent. Nate Diaz again turned down the $15 million offer. And as I signed up to fight Mike Perry, I was thinking like, I'm gonna beat him in boxing, but me versus Mike Perry in MMA could also be crazy. So who knows? I'm gonna focus on July 20th, but after that, Mike Perry might be a perfect MMA opponent as well.
Man, well, Jake, I appreciate the time. Appreciate you staying on the course, man. July 20th, everybody's looking forward to it. And then November 15th, the big one with Mike Tyson. Thank you for your time and good luck to you on July 20th.
Awesome. Thank you, man.